tanong ko, Mr. Chair, bumaba na ba yung supply from 2016 to 2023 based dun sa survey? So sabi nila, law enforcement daw yung makakaalam.
To clarify po, Mr. Chair, hindi po hagip sa household survey po yung enforcement data, which includes po yung seizures. So we best recommend po that this question be coursed through to our law enforcement agencies. Thank you.
Anyway, Mr. Chair, wala na yung PNP. Sila na lang tanungin ko later. On the next meeting. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Congresswoman Castro. The first to interpolate the presentation of Senator Trillanes is Congressman Rog Gutierrez. But before that, just one clarificatory question sa PSA. Yung survey na ginawa ng DDB, do you confirm that that is an accurate survey result?
Your Honor, good evening. What we can confirm is that it underwent the survey clearance processes. So the survey clearance process is a mechanism for government agencies to secure a clearance on the methodologies. Say, for example, if they have a sampling design, it should be a probability design of sampling. The way to interpret the data, something like that. So all of this and all of these methodologies are included and must be taken into consideration for that government agency to conduct the specific survey that they want to conduct.
Okay, sige, salamat. Pero doon ba sa results ng 1.1 million, does that mean that you have surveyed and asked questions to that number of people?
Yes, Your Honor.
Million? So yun, ano? Hindi yan kagaya ng normal survey that you only have sample size. So dito, actual number. So when you say 6 million yung na-interview, 6 million yung results, that means you have interviewed 6 million people.
No, sir. What we mean here is an estimate of the population. So, meron po kaming number of respondents that we have that we get, no? Like, for example po, data on 2023, we have 12,495 respondents, which is taken from the general population po of 10 to 69 years old, which is 86,498,895. At doon po namin kinuha yung estimate based on statistics that and science-based data po.
Sige, kasi I'm just wondering, I'm not quite familiar with the science-based approach and methodology nyo ginagawa. No? Kasi like, when you say an ordinary survey, kunyari, tatanong mo yung household, ano yung sabong paborito nila, you only get a sample size. Sa drugs ba, ganyan din, sample size?
Yun din po yung ginawa namin dito, sir. We get a representative sample
So, ibig
from the
sabihin.
general population at randomly selected po ito.
Sige, okay, sige. Salamat po. Thank you po. So, the first to interpolate is Congressman Rog Gutierrez. You're recognized. You have 10 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, before I ask the good senator, just on those points earlier with the DDP, I'd like to ask them po, to the Dangerous Drugs Board po, Mr. Chair, if I'd like to ask them.
DDB?
Sorry. Mr. Chair, thank you. To DDB lang po, I hope you understand. We're not here to argue po, no? You're the experts, kayo po talagang nakakalam sa statistics. Ngunit, I think you'd understand our surprise po, no, with your results. Just to really hammer down, sabi po niyo 95% sure, you have the statistical background to back it up. However, I think we'd find it hard to believe po, no? Because when we're talking about this, especially on the topic of drug use, there would be a strong response bias to this po, no? Because this is not necessarily a behavior that you would willingly admit to in a survey. And I'm sure you have the science to back it up, that you consider this pa rin, but you still remain positively confident in the numbers, the estimates that you've given. Yes.
Yes, Mr. Chair. The survey instruments and the methodologies were framed in such a way that will still maintain the authenticity of the answers of the respondents as much as possible.
And despite this, there's no observable difference given the drug war. I mean, I think that's where most of the congressmen are expressing their disbelief. Because you have your survey, your data points are 2015 and 2019, tama po ba? Yet during supposedly the peak of the drug war between 2016 to 2018, it's had only an effect of 4%
Mr.
for
Chair,
drug users.
for
po,
the
no?
drug users. And based on the data presented from the National Household Survey, yes, but we emphasize that there is a continuous downward trend, which could be attributed on the policies, systems, and mechanisms that has been institutionalized through the National Anti-Drug Strategy Framework, which we are implementing on both drug supply and drug demand reduction, together with all the task agencies mandated to implement these in their respective programs and priorities.
Thank you. And just to be clear, the DDB, just to distinguish the difference, the DDB is more on the policy consideration side in support of the Office of the President, while the PDEA is the drug enforcement side po, no?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Do you make use of any other method of coming up with these estimates aside from your survey, or you're really just relying on this every 3-year household survey po?
Specific for the drug user data, Mr. Chair, yes po.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Chair, I'd like to direct my next question to the PIDEA through ASEC Gumban, perhaps. ASEC, good evening. Do you also, as the enforcement agency charged with, drug use, do you concern yourself also with statistics such as that on the drug users, or you're purely on the drug supply side lang po?
We get the data also from Dangerous Drugs Board regarding how many users that we have.
Okay, so
Yes, that is the accurate one.
So you make use of the DDB statistics also. So the PIDEA would likewise stand by the statistics that are presented by
Yes,
DDB.
Mr. Chair.
So it's shocking to see po, no? I agree with the finding, the conclusion of Congressman Abante. Nakakagulat po, no? Na despite the drug war from 2016, it would appear there was no tangible acceptable difference po, no reduction in the drug users. So that's something I think that the committee would have to consider in its committee report in relation to the drugs and EJK portion of the Quad. With that, Mr. Chair, I thank you, DDB and PIDEA. I'd like to now ask former Senator Trillanes regarding the presentation earlier. Senator, good evening po.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair, I'll make this short, just a few slides. I'm sure the other colleagues have some questions. Pero nabanggit po ni, just as a background po, no, former Senator Trillanes, can you give us a background of how you would be the right person to explain po yung Las Cañas affidavit? Because as we understand, of course, unfortunately, as much as we'd want to have Las Cañas present the affidavit himself, he's not around. What is your experience or relation po to Las Cañas that you would be presenting his testimony here tonight?
When he was still in the country, kami po yung nag-provide sa kanya ng security and safe houses, no? Then ang ginawa nila Duterte and ng DOJ, they filed they fabricated cases against him para ma-issuean siya ng warrant at makulong siya, ma-silent siya. So by then he was able to slip out of the country even before the warrant was issued, and we facilitated that, no? Kasi hindi pa naman siya fugitive, so we're still not breaking any laws. So we were able to do that, at they made sure na no? They followed through, kinancel po yung kanyang passport at pinasahan siya ng red notice sa Interpol. But by then, nakapag-seek siya ng asylum somewhere. So, yan po ang background nun. Then, since kami po yung unang nag-file ng communication at sa ICC, meron po kaming coordination with them. We pass information with them, and hindi po yan unpatriotic, no? In fact, on the contrary, that is a patriotic thing to do nung mga panahon na walang masilungan o masakluluhan ang mga kababayan natin. We did the right thing. Member pa tayo ng ICC at that time. No, hindi po tayo we're not dealing with some shady organization. So, kuwan po, nagkakaroon po ng ugnayan through intermediaries. Tapos eventually nga, we were able to get hold of that 186-page affidavit. Then meron siyang video na patutuo while he's signing, and yung conclusion binasa po niya. So yun po ang naging kuha namin standpoint. Sabi ko nga po, pwede naman pong i-question yung authenticity niyan, pero the ICC, doon na po sila sa Witness Protection Program, at hindi lang po yan, natapos na po yung kanyang yung testimony niya. So even before the trial began, or even before the trial begins, tapos na ho siya because alam nila kung gaano ka-critical yung kanyang testimony. So to rule out any scenario na habulin siya ng mga assassins para ma-preempt yung trial, nakuha na po. So, duly represented yung camp ni Duterte ng isang ICC-appointed defense lawyer. So, the rights of both parties were protected.
Thank you. So, Senator Trillanes, your relation po with Las Cañas is you've helped facilitate the cooperation po with the ICC, tama po. So, although the affidavit might not be, he's not here to testify it on his behalf, you would necessarily have knowledge po of the facts that at least that he relayed to you prior to his having left the country, tama po ba?
Opo, exhaustively, we interviewed him. No, and one particular trait of Mr. Las Cañas, as I mentioned earlier, meron siyang photographic memory. He can rattle off names, places. Talagang at we did a lot of vetting, validation ng mga sinasabi niya, at nag-check out. Kaya eventually doon. And he has no reason to lie, no? In the first place, he was being rewarded generously by Duterte kasi one of second in command yan dun sa buong DDS structure sa Davao. So he was rewarded generously, at pati nung nagkaroon siya ng kidney transplant, binigyan siya ng pinacilitate yon. Pero talagang nagkaroon siya ng some form of epiphany. It's so powerful na hindi niya talagang in his words, parang he had to turn to the light, no? And kahit na ni-risk niya yung buhay niya, buhay ng pamilya niya, but gusto niya ng some form of redemption. So yun po ang nakuha namin.
So, Senator Trillanes, at the time that Las Cañas had this epiphany of sorts, or when he cooperated with the ICC, would you say that these admissions were adverse to his interest? At that time, was there a falling out already with the former president, or?
Opo. Even before siya lumabas, nagkaroon siya ng yung unang parang conscience attacks, mga 2014, 2015. So, ang initial na sinasabi niya, hindi lang siya tumatanggap na ng mga liquidation missions. Tapos, eventually, nung naging presidente si Duterte, gusto niya na mag-mainstream, no? Kaso, binigyan siya ng mission which was to have me killed, no? Hindi niya na kinaya yon, hindi niya na tinanggap. Pumunta muna siya sa mga religious personalities. Then itong mga religious personalities eventually ang nag-arrange sa amin na ma-interview siya. But he appeared initially sa Senate kasi talagang binantayan siya ng husto. So nagsinungaling siya. no? The first appearance. Then after the new year of 2016, nag-ano na siya. Completely nag-turn na siya. He wanted to tell all. Even dito siya nagsabi sa Pilipinas at the risk of his own life. At kaso nung nakita namin that we cannot protect him anymore, tinulungan namin yung paglabas niya out of the country.
Thank you. Senator, so with that po, no, as much as we'd like to give credence to the testimony of Mr. Las Cañas, we'd still have to vet and,
Yes.
perhaps we just only prove it through circumstance na lang po, no?
Yes.
He mentioned, and as you presented, a few names that were allegedly yung mga competition daw po ni Mr. Michael
Yes.
Yang. And I think some of the names mentioned were Alan Yap, Danny Ong, and Philip Lam.
Yes. And Joel Ko.
And Joel Ko. Senator Trillanes, all of these cases of kidnapping po, no? Yung kidnapping incidents, these are all drug-related po ba?
Yes. Ang ginagawa kasi sa kanila, parang yung dito sa testimony ni Colonel Garma, merong parallel structure. There is the regular police organization, then meron silang special operations group. Yan yon ang ito yung heinous crime investigation unit. So kaya ganon. So when they do the liquidations, wala na mag-iimbestiga kasi sila po 'yon, no? So binibigyan sila ng information, itong tao na ito ay drug pusher or drug dealer. So yun na 'yon. They will execute sila. So yun ang information sa kanya. Pero ang sinabi niya dito sa apat na ito, pinagkakitaan pa nila. Binigyan sila ng authority na kidnapin muna, abduct, tapos kontakin yung pamilya para magkuha ng ransom para doon tumaas yung kanilang operational funds. Yes.
Senator, would you know if these 4 cases were investigated? These were all in one locality po ba sa Davao?
All in Davao City, Mr. Chairman. And sabi nga niya, lahat po ito nasa record. They can check out the Davao City Police Office to record. Tsaka may mga kamag-anak po ito. Sabi niya, nagbigay itong mga ito. Kaya he's very confident about all of these cases that he revealed dun sa kanyang affidavit.
Mr. Chairman, do we have a representative of the PNP? I don't think meron po, no? So, Mr. Chair, may we ask PIDEA po siguro through ASEC Gumban. Mr. Chair, are we familiar with these cases po? Yung kay Alan Yap, Danny Ong, and Philip Lam? And I think Joel Ko?
Joel Ko.
Joel Ko?
Yes.
We'll check with the records, Mr. Chair. We'll check with our records.
We'll just request po siguro from the PDA if they can give submit to the committee po records on this alleged kidnappings, allegedly drug-related kidnappings. Likewise, Mr. Chair, we'd also like to request a report siguro from the PNP. I understand we've had some representatives earlier, pero baka wala na po sila, and probably they would not be the right persons po, no, through the committee secretariat. Or are they present now?
Mr. Chairman, idagdag ko lang, Mr. Chairman, na minention din niya one specific case na inutos ni Duterte, nag-pass through kay Bongo, is itong kay Christopher Yu, who was killed dito daw sa City of Dreams noong 2016, just a few weeks or months into their presidency. So, verifiable siya.
Sigo. Mr. Chair, in that case, through the committee secretariat, may we also request siguro from the PIDEA. So, I think list na lang po ito, no, to the PIDEA and the PNP for the reports on Mr. Alan Yap, Danny Ong, Philip Lam, Joel Ko, and Mr. Christopher Yu. Tama po ba? And that reminds me po, Senator Trillanes, si Christopher Yu, this was one of the persons mentioned that allegedly was identified through LTO resources. Tama po ba?
Yes, yes, Mr. Chairman.
Did Mr. Las Cañas give any further explanation po on sino po itong nag-provide ng names and addresses by tapping the LTO? naging regional director po, I believe, no?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Ang nakuha ko lang yung surname, but the video is with the committee secretary, so pwede po nilang makuha yung exact name. Apo.
Yun yung si Mr. De Guzman po, tama, no?
Mr. De Guzman,
Okay.
who was a parang low-level employee na sa Davao pero nakakuha na nila ng data. Tapos nung presidente na-reward na ginawang ano.
Sige po. In that case, Mr. Chair, may we ask through the committee secretariat siguro confirmation from the LTO for a certain Mr. De Guzman who was in the area of Davao during that time. And perhaps if the committee is so like-minded, we could invite him at another time. Mr. Chair, actually, another interesting thing that we've seen from the presentation of the good senator were the supposed killings and release po yung sa Dumoy raid. But I think we've had an extensive discussion on this already. I think we'll all be just waiting for the invitation of SPO for SPO for Carillo po, no?
Yes.
So I think we've already heard earlier na on the side of the PDEA, they've said nag-turn over sa BID. Yung BID naman, they said nag-release or turnover. So I think we'll have to rely on the invitation for SPO Carillo. So I don't think I'll have any further questions on that.
Mr. Chairman, I think very critical din yung sa Bureau of Immigration. If indeed tinurn over nila Director Wilkins Villanueva yung 11 na Chinese. And if so, kung totoong, ito nga, nag-intervene si Duterte, as mentioned dun sa news article, because we maintain na if Las Cañas were to be believed, pinatay niya na nung January 1, early morning, itong 11 na ito. So, fiction na yung story that happened after. So, if may proper turnover ng live bodies ito eh. So, talagang may proper documentation to. And I think the Bureau of Immigration of Region 11 would be hard put in fabricating such documents. Wala akong aamin dyan.
And I would agree po, Mr. Senator. And in fact, I think that's what we've come to the conclusion earlier when we were discussing in Dumoy raid. Aside from the testimony of SPO for Carillo, we also want to look into the reports of both the BID and the PDEA regarding that incident. And I think with that enough corroborating evidence, the truth will come to light. So we'll just have to wait for the next hearing po, no, if we're able to locate and hear from Ms. SPO for Carillo.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
One more interesting killing po that we've heard po from the testimony of Mr. Las Cañas. Maybe ask po siguro yung PDEA also if they could confirm that there was a laboratory, Shabu laboratory in yung Green Heights daw po.
We are looking into our records, Mr. Chair. I just heard that Green Heights. What we know is Duboy.
Well, I think it should be cause for concern po, no? And I think aside from the mention of yung Shabu Drug Lab sa Green Heights, there was also a mention of a killing of a construction worker. So I think this should also have a record with the PNP. So likewise, Mr. Chair, may we ask the committee secretariat to request from the PDEA and the PNP records in relation to yung Green Heights killing, the drug raid, and yung death ng itong construction workers. Actually, Mr. Chair, for the rest of my questions,
Mr. Chairman, in the affidavit of Mr. Las Cañas, he gave a more detailed narration of that specific event, and he was able to provide a name of I think the foreman, because they were the informants of that supposed raid, but because Mr. Duterte was able to know about the impending raid, he informed them and he then killed the informants. So I don't think it would be in any record of the PNP and PDEA because they swept it under the rug. Yes, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, Mr. Chair. But thank you, Mr. Senator. But we have to exert those efforts to have a final determination by the PNP and the PDEA. And if indeed there are no records, then we'll have to rely on other sources to confirm po, no? With that, Mr. Chair, I'll yield to other interpellators po. Maraming salamat po, Senator.
Okay,
Salamat
thank
po.
you. Congressman Gutierrez. The next to interpolate is Congressman Paolo Ortega. You have
Thank
10
you,
minutes.
Mr. Chair. I have a few questions to the former Senator, Senator Trillanes. Former Senator Trillanes, sino po sa pagkakakilala nyo si Charlie Tan? Ano pong personalidad niya?
Based dun sa ano po, no, ang mga sources po namin dito when we profiled him is yung testimony po, yung interview rather ni Mr. Las Cañas, yung kanyang affidavit, then yung ano po, yung report ni privilege speech rather ni Senator Ping Lacson. He was identified as one of the big players, and his name was also mentioned in the text messages of Mr. Mark Taguba. Tapos through our other informants, talagang big player siya ng smuggling. At ang dynamic nila, as mentioned by Mr. Las Cañas, si Paulo Duterte ang kapartner niya si Charlie Tan. Si Michael Yang naman ang kapartner si Duterte. So, tapos si Charlie Tan ang nagpapacilitate ng entry ng mga substances, yung mga chemicals na gagamitin for shabu manufacturing. Then eventually, nung nag-importation na sila ng whole scale, doon na sila sa customs nag-ooperate, Mr. Chairman.
So, Mr. Chair, former Senator, we can say that Charlie Tan is directly involved. Kumbaga, big fish po siya. Big time player po talaga dito sa, can you say smuggling and drug trade, Mr. former Senator?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Sinabi nga ni Las Cañas, sila yung triumvirate. Si Charlie Tan, Sammy Uy, and Michael Yang. During those times na hindi pa puputok itong mga pangalan na ito, doon niya nakita ito. 2001 sila nagsimula ng partnership. From what I heard, or what Mr. Las Cañas told us, nagsimula ito nung medyo nanganib yung return ni Duterte nung 2001 elections. So, naghanap siya ng pondo. Ito yung mga nagpondo sa kanya. And he was well aware that these are drug lords. So, doon siya nagsimula ng partnership nila. So, itong tatlo po na ito, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, former Senator. Mr. Chair, I would like to ask sana yung PNP or NBI or PIDEA, if is Charlie Tan a familiar name? Is he on the list? Ano pong pagkatao niya o pagkakakilala niyo sa kanya? I guess we can ask PIDEA, Mr. Chair.
No, we will check on that personality, sir. We will dig in our records.
Do we still have representatives from LRA and AMLAC? Wala na po ba? Wala na.
You're looking for a PNP representative?
LRA or AMLAC,
LRA.
Mr. Chair?
Okay. Ang LRA and AMLAC has already left, Your Honor.
Then I'll just raise the question in the air, Mr. Chair, na siyempre kailangan natin makita kung ano po yung pagkatao nitong si Charlie Tan and with regards to his properties, yung mga negosyo niya, at definitely yung pagkatao niya, Mr. Chair, we have to ask. And I'll take advantage of the presence of Mr. Abellera, Mr. Chair. Sir Abellera po, ano po ang pagkakakilala nyo kay Charlie Tan? Do you know him personally or is he an acquaintance? Ano pong buong pagkatao niya if you know him, sir?
Good evening. Kasama ko siya dati. Kainuman, kabarkada.
Barkada po, sir. So, would you happen to know if this allegations thrown at him, yung mga issues po na nababato sa kanya, are you familiar with this or may pagkakataon na napadaan na sa inyo itong mga ganitong pangyayari, Mr. Abilera?
Matagal ko na ho siyang hindi nakakasama dahil simula 2017 yata. 2017, nung nagkaroon kami ng ano sa Senate, hindi na ho kami nagkasama nila Congressman Paulo Duterte.
Mr. Chair, Ginoong Abilera. So, ngayon po, sa punto na ngayon, wala na po kayong idea kung nasaan siya, anong ginagawa niya, or anong balita tungkol sa kanya?
Ang alam ko po nasa Davao, pero hindi ko alam kung, hindi na ho kami nagkakita eh. Bira na ho.
If he's still in Davao, Mr. Chair, nabigyan na po ba tayo ng pagkakataon para imbitahin si Mr. Charlie Tan, Mr. Chair?
Yes, we have already sent invitation to Mr. Charlie Tan twice. Yung last natin was a show cause order. Is that correct, Comsec? Did we issue a show cause order kay Mr. Charlie Tan? If I remember correctly, nung last hearing, we already issued a show cause order for him.
At least meron po tayong bawi.
Then if he's in Davao, Mr. Chair, I think we should get help from not only local authorities, but as well as our national authorities na, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Comsec, please coordinate with the Philippine National Police in the area to locate Mr. Charlie Tan.
Because I'm sure he's going to be a vital resource person. Not only a resource person, but a vital actor in our hearings, Mr. Chair. So yun lang po, Mr. Chair. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Congressman Ortega. Next to interpolate is Congressman Zia Adyong. Since Congressman Adyong is not present, Congressman Flores.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Tapos ako na. Invite lang ako. Mr. Chair, before I start with the specific questions, I just have a comment with your presentation, Senator Trillanes, no? Because while you were making the presentation, kanina ko pa gusto ma-interrupt sana eh, kasi most of your, the information that you gave were actually available already in open sources, no? Like newspaper clippings and the affidavits of persons. And in fact, it appears nga na parang you were just making a summary of everything that you found from newspaper articles to the affidavits of other resource persons. Tama po ba?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
And the difficulty kasi in asking you questions about it is that because your statements are going to be based on either an article or the affidavit of another person. And the rule supposedly is that it's best to ask the person who executed the affidavit or the person who made the news article, di ba? Kasi parang maging double hearsay na tuloy yung sitwasyon ngayon eh, di ba?
Yes, Mr.
And
Chairman.
I hope you understand why I'm saying this, because in the spirit of fair play din sana, it would give the other persons who have been named in the affidavit and in the news articles also the opportunity to confront the persons who actually made the affidavit.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Sa nakita nyo po, no, since hindi naman po tayo nasa court of law, the way I presented everything, ito yung resulta ng investigation, no? When I was still in the Senate, and nagkalap kami ng intelligence information, ayan, open sources, tapos insider information. Then that was very critical. Before namin nakausap si Las Cañas, all of us were susceptible in embracing or swallowing the false narrative of Duterte na talagang galit siya sa droga. And the way he delivers these things, very emphatic eh, na talagang parang kapanipaniwala na galit talaga. But then, here's an insider guy who came up with all of this information. Talagang nag-iba yung paradigm. And ang difficulty namin at that time was how to communicate this this new paradigm to the general public because at the time, talagang kontrolado nila yung buong communications apparatus and yun po ang difficulty.
You are referring to Art Las Cañas.
Yes, opo.
Well, the issue I have with Art Las Cañas din kasi, kasi when he first appeared before the Senate ba yun?
Yes.
He was saying a different thing. In fact, he was defending then President Duterte. It was only a few months after where he recanted and made another statement about the involvement of then President Duterte about drugs.
Opo.
And every time kasi we present a witness na parang says something and then does another thing,
Yeah.
medyo kami din ang natatamaan dyan eh, di ba? Kasi it's parang coming from a tainted source. That's why I hope you understand my sentiments po because I always want to protect also the integrity of this committee. That's why I'm bringing these issues up, no? Kasi while I was listening to you kanina, it's either Art Las Cañas, Asierto, or the other newspaper articles ang basis ng ano. I was really hoping that you could have given us more concrete siguro evidence po on what actually to support the allegations made by Las Cañas.
Okay, I totally agree, no? Especially coming from lawyers, very strict yung discipline nila about witnesses recanting. But as ano po, no? As a non-lawyer, in my case, when I was still a cadet, I was the chairman of this honor committee. Talagang we do investigative work and we profile the subjects, demeanor. So, na-acquire ito. When I was in the Navy, as an investigation officer, nakikita mo you'll be able to know whether somebody is lying and somebody is telling the truth. No? Pwedeng matest po yan in so many ways, mabibet. Pero po yung paglalay at the first instance, depende po sa circumstances. When they are fearful of their own lives, it is totally understandable. At pero dito po ang nangyari sa kanya, talagang he risked everything eh. Kumbaga hindi ako makapaniwala nung unang sinabing babaliktad si Las Cañas because doon sa first appearance niya sa Senate, talagang matindi talaga, no, hardcore siya. Pero kaya binet muna namin. First few baka mapapatibong kami. Pero yun na eh. Talagang parang ayaw niya na. He doesn't want to be burdened by all of these people he killed. So yun na, he was out for redemption.
Thank you, sir. I just made that observation kasi I just want, of course, the Quadcom to be above the suspicion ba na we're just allowing statements like that to be coming out from resource persons. Now, with regards to Michael Yang po, when Asierto was making his allegations about Michael Yang, he said that the very first information he got about Michael Yang was about the Dumoy laboratory. And in that Dumoy laboratory, parang ang role lang ni Michael Yang at that time was supposedly securing the precursors.
Yes.
Pero meaning he's not really involved in the manufacturing of drugs, but securing resources that are needed to manufacture these things. Parang negosyante lang na may pinagkakakitaan. Tama po ba? Was that confirmed by your research po?
If you will only take the information from Colonel Asierto, then that's the conclusion that you'll get. But in our case, nakuha na namin yung initially yung bank documents, Mr. Chairman, nandoon na yung Sami Uy. Nung lumabas yun, hinahanap namin ano kaya itong pumapasok na pera na ito from government coffers or illegal mining activities, kung ano-ano. But eventually, nung si Las Cañas pumasok, and we got him around January of 2017 a few months before the appearance of Colonel Asierto. So by then, nakita na namin from the new paradigm itong mga information na to. Kaya nag-fit ho siya dun sa buong narrative.
So, Michael Yang and Alan Lim and sino po yung isa na
Si Charlie Tan, Sammy Uy.
Charlie Tan,
Ayan
Sammy
po,
Uy.
oo.
Now, si Alan Lim naman, ang relations niya with Michael Yang, where did it start ba? Saan nagsimula yung connections nila?
Apparently, since hindi alam ni Las Cañas, si Alan Lim vaguely pumupunta lang daw a few times sa sa Davao. So kumuha kami ng other sources of information from the whether domestic law enforcers or foreign law enforcers. Itong si Alan Lim, apparently mas senior siya kay Michael Yang at that time. Parang junior itong si Michael Yang. Mas senior pa yung kanyang kapatid na si Tony Yang. May ano sila meron silang seniority dun sa kanilang triad. So Peter Lim is also a big player. So sa Visayas, itong si Peter Lim, si Alan Lim doon naman sa Luzon. That's the picture we got from the people we talked to. Tapos pero si Michael Yang naka-jackpot siya kasi yung connection niya with Duterte nag-pay off when he became president, kaya na-elevate siya, na fast track yung kanyang promotion do sa kanyang organization. Ganun po 'yun.
Now, if you're saying na Michael Yang was using his siguro closeness with the former president to further his drug interest, why would he be content with just being economic advisor? Why not ask for a different position which would give him siguro more access to whatever he's doing, di ba? But that's a question that most people would say. Di ba kung involved siya sa drugs, bakit economic advisor lang ginawa? Wala naman niyang benefit to his business.
Ito po yung benefit nun. Unang-una, he cannot be given a regular cabinet position because he is a Chinese national. No? So, yan yon. Yung economic advisor is just a title to project to the whole bureaucracy na ano ito, malakas itong tao na ito. That's going to afford him the protection that he needs, no? Yung connection do sa network kasi binabout siya. And yung pinag-uusapan kung paano nag-pay off yung kanyang closeness, dun sa family issue, yun po, di ba, lumabas. Kahit nasa labas siya, ang dami niya nakuhang kontrata because of that connection. At hindi pa po na may mention dito yung kinita nila dun sa Sinovac, no? Dun sa Sinovac, based dun sa mga nakuha naming dokumento, ay ano po yan, na-overprice niya ng 2,000 pesos per vial at bumili sila ng 50 million vials. So that's 100 billion pesos, no? Yun po ang pinakamalaking racket nila na nakuha because of that connection and protection, Mr. Chairman.
Now, you also testified earlier na Sammy Uy, no, was the one who introduced Michael Yang to the president. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. President.
Now, Sammy Uy is known to be close to the president even when he was still mayor pa.
Yes.
But for not about ako, I know that it wasn't about drugs na ang association niya with the Dutertes. Paano naging biglang all of a sudden naging drugs to na angle na kung isipin natin, it should have started way before kung yun man ang original intention ni Sammy Uy, di ba? Kasi he was already close to the president when the president was still mayor of Davao
Yes, and it did start way before. According dun sa interview ni Las Cañas, nag-start po silang tatlo mag-engage kay Duterte noong 2001. At major campaign contributor sila noong una. Tapos, ito na nga, sabi ko nga, yung pag-profile kasi kay Las Cañas as an insider, as an inside man, it's either you will believe everything or you don't believe anything. Di ba? So, kaya nung una naming binebet ito si Las Cañas, we were validating everything. Kumbaga, ano bang motivation itong mamang ito? At I think if it's one skill set that we have is yun pong pagbe-vet, pagba-background check. So nakikita po namin yung mga motivations. And sinabi po niya ako ho, without you take out Las Cañas, pag nakita mo yung cover ni Sami Uy, talagang maganda Maganda ho Kaso sinabi ni Las Cañas, and before that, nakuha po namin, Mr. Chairman, yung bank documents. Ando doon siya Bakit siya nagbibigay ng 40 to 50 million dun sa 5 members of the family every 6 months? Ano yun? Anong klaseng business po yan? Tapos marami pa pong eventually kung in an impeachment court, hypothetically, lalabas po yan. Kung kanino galing pumapasok po yan. At ang blunder po ni Duterte, ginawa ho niyang joint account sila ni Sara So, ano po ito? Lumabas po doon.
Pero you would agree with me, Senator, na there's nothing wrong naman in making political contributions to campaigns, di ba? I mean, a lot of businessmen do that, di ba? For as long as it is properly reported in your statements of contribution expenditures, okay lang yan, di ba?
Okay lang po yan, Mr. Chairman, kung hindi mo alam. Kunyari ngayon, napag-uusapan na si Michael Yang as a drug lord. Would you accept a campaign contribution from Michael Yang? I don't think so. Siguro before, pag hindi mo pakilala, you'd be forgiven for that Alam niyo naman po, tayong mga politiko, pag may lumapit o gusto kong tumulong sa campaign mo, hindi naman tayo magche-check sa narco list o kung ano-ano. Di ba ho? We take these gestures at face value na they just want to help us. So, ganun po yan.
Okay, now, pwede na, kasi ito di ba? Asierto first came out with Michael Yang after 2016 na
Yes.
di ba? When Duterte was already president. Tama po ba?
Yes, Mr.
So,
Chairman.
I mean, if I was the president, I would still have accepted the donations prior to that. Kasi
Yes.
hindi pa lumulutang yung pangalan niya at that time, di ba?
Yes, Mr.
So
Chairman.
there was nothing wrong with it at
There's
that
nothing
time.
wrong. There's
no?
nothing wrong.
So as far as contributions are concerned, then probably there was a valid excuse for the president to accept it because at that time, supposedly, hindi pa lumalabas yung pangalan ni Michael Yang as someone who is linked to the drug trade. Tama po ba?
I totally agree, Mr. Chairman. Kaya ko lang naman nilabas yung SOSE because dito lumabas yung pangalan na talagang close sila. So, at that particular moment, and I agree with you, Mr. Chairman, walang problema pa. But in hindsight, may problema na. Ibig sabihin nun, yung sinasabi nilang narco politician, yun na. Because Duterte knew about Sami Uy's involvement in illegal drugs and siyang pumopondo. Yon kinorroborate yun ni Mr. Las Cañas noong 2001, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, now, would it also be possible, I'm just playing devil's advocate here, Senator,
Yeah,
forgive
po.
me.
Yes.
Would it also be possible na, let's say, people close to the president vetted him and said he's okay? Meaning, the president did not have to go further from what the people surrounding him were saying. Example, like, cleared yan, okay yan, hindi yan associated with drugs. Pwede din po ba na he would rely on the word of those who are closest to him na hindi yan involved in drugs?
Yun na nga po, no? Assuming the best of Duterte, probably that would be the case. Pero we have profiled the guy and in in assuming the worst of him, minsan ini-exceed pa niya no? Pero ito po, yung kay sino to? Kay Sami Uy and kay Michael Yang, in-inform na ni Colonel Asierto. Kumbaga, out of sense of duty, sabihin na nating naive si Colonel Asierto because he believed yung narrative. Namigay talaga siya ng report hoping to precisely yung sinasabi nyo, Mr. Chairman, na maklear siya, yung baka hindi alam nung nagki-clear sa kanya na okay yan. Kaso baliktad ho yung reaction niya eh. Kung totoong he had nothing to do with Mr. Yang, ang gagawin niya nung nakita niya yon, first thing toxic yan, ilayo niyo yan sa akin. Or, kung talagang pinapapatay niya yung mga drug lords, dapat napatay na po yun. Yun po, Mr. Chairman.
Now, earlier din, when AMLAC was here, AMLAC said that the documents did not come from them.
Yes.
Yung pinesent mong bank documents. But in earlier public pronouncements that were also made or also linked to you, you also said that it was AMLAC who gave you access to these documents.
No, wala po akong sinabing gano'n, Mr. Chairman, kasi that would be illegal. No? That would be illegal. So, ang sinabi ko po, merong nagbigay sa akin ng mga dokumento na yon at chinek po namin in our own ways. So, when we validated it, ginamit namin. I used it as evidence to file a plunder case against Duterte. At yung investigation na yon ng ombudsman, validated yung documents. Kaya po nung sinabi ko kanina, yung open source, sabi po ng ombudsman, yun pong nakuha nila na dokumento sa AMLAC matches the contents of my document.
Is this si Karandang ba yun?
Yes, Mr.
binabanggit mo?
Chairman. Opo.
And he was removed, is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
But then he was removed for other reasons din, Senator Trillanes, di ba?
Hindi po. Kasi the primary reason is iniimbestigahan niya si Duterte and they were gaining some headway dun sa investigation na yun, and Duterte needed to stop him from investigating, Mr. Chairman.
Did we invite former Deputy Ombudsman Karandang to share? Hindi. But he was invited. Anyway, thank you, Senator Trillanes. DG Villanueva, I'll give you an opportunity because your name was mentioned earlier by the senator, di ba? Na you were supposedly, you had a big role actually in parang suppressing the information from coming out, especially linking Michael Yang and other personalities po. What is your comment to that, sir?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for giving me the opportunity. Hearing what Mr. Las Cañas and Mr. Trillanes narratives, seemingly they were lousy storytellers. Una-una, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I take exception dun sa sinasabi nito ni Mr. Villanueva kasi early on I was checked by the chairman for taunting, pero
Okay.
I submit.
May we remind all the resource persons to refrain from saying
Sorry, Mr. Chair.
offending words. Thank you so
Sorry,
much,
Mr.
everybody.
Unang-una kasi, Mr. Chair, sabi ni yung mga previous statement ni Colonel Asierto, lumabas yung pangalan ni Michael Yang according to his informant noong 2016. Samantalang yung statement ni Las Cañas kanina nung pinapanood ko, seemingly, agad alam niya si Michael Yang nung sa Dumoy. Dumoy pa lang, alam na niya na may Michael Yang. Now, Mr. Chair, for 3 months of our surveillance operation, isang team lang ang kay Colonel Asierto doon, lahat ng team sa PDEA 11. Walang anino si Las Cañas doon. And definitely, we have not involved anybody outside of HSOT, the team of Colonel Asierto and my team, because this was a delicate anti-drug operation. So definitely, paano malalaman ni Las Cañas na may Michael Yang hindi nga niya alam na may anti-drug operation sa clandestine laboratory. Pangalawa, sir, sabi ni Mr. Trillanes, the clandestine laboratory was operating under my nose. Ibig sabihin, nagmamanufacture na ang mga in-check ng shabu na Hindi ko nalalaman. Maling-mali yun, Mr. Chair. For 3 months, nag-start sila ng actual manufacture December 26. Dahil tuwing gabi, Mr. Chair, nasisilip namin yung ginagawa nila. So, noong December 29, naglalatag na, nagpapatuyo na sila ng shabu eh. That is noong December 28. That is why on December 29, nag-apply na kami ng search warrant.
Okay, let me cut you off there, General. Sandali lang. You said the surveillance nyo sila for 3 months.
Yes,
Tama ba?
Mr. Chair.
So bakit nyo surveillance for 3 months na 26 pa sila of December nag-start production?
Mr. Chair, for 3 months, nagse-set up eh.
Ah.
Bumibili ng mga material, ng mga equipment, isa-set up ang equipment. Nung nakumpleto na lahat ang equipment and chemicals na ipasok na lahat sa Dumoy Laboratory, December 26, they start manufacturing.
Kaya nga, sir, December 31 yung raid, di ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So 3 months before that, it would be December, November, October.
October. It started October 26, Mr. Chair.
October, nag-start na kayo ng surveillance.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Anong isa-surveil nyo kung hindi pa sila nag-produce ng drugs at that time?
Again, Mr. Chair, nag-start kami ng surveillance December 26 dahil binigyan kami ng
No, you
information.
said 3 months before.
October 26,
Yes, sir.
dahil binigyan kami ng information ng USDEA na may paparating na Chinese chemist sa Davao City. Yun lang ang information, Mr. Chair. From the airport, nasundan namin hanggang dumating sila sa Arlene apartment. And from there, doon na kami nag-start ng follow kung saan pupunta itong mga to hanggang sa natumbok namin ang Dumoy Clandestine Laboratory.
Okay, so the surveillance started because of an information given that a chemist was going to Davao.
Yes, Mr.
Not
Chair.
because they were already producing drugs at that time.
No, Mr.
Not
Chair.
because the laboratory was already set up at that time.
Yes, Mr.
But only because of the raw information that a chemist was there supposedly
Exactly,
to
Mr.
start a laboratory.
Yes, Mr.
That's
Chair.
why 3 months. Kasi minamatch ko lang di ba? Sa akin kasi, if you look at it, no, parang I hope you forgive me,
Yes, Mr. Chair.
3 months before, anong i-surveillance mo kung wala pa nga yung laboratory? And anong i-surveillance mo kung hindi pa nga sila nagpo-produce ng droga na sinasabi natin?
Yes.
Di ba? That's what led to the raid nga di ba? The production of these drugs.
Yes,
So,
Mr. Chair.
Okay,
So,
continue.
dun sa 3 months na yun, sir, nakaka-follow kami dun sa Agdao na warehouse at dun sa Bunawan na kung saan naandun yung naandun yung air scrubber na malaki, Mr. Chair. They just started manufacturing December 26. So on the 3rd day, nag-apply na kami ng search warrant dahil nagpapatuyo na sila ng shabu. So we applied December 29. We implemented December 31. That is 5 days, Mr. Chair. So, maling-mali yung sabi ni Mr. Trillanes, now they are already manufacturing under my nose. They are setting up the laboratory na ando na po kami.
Okay, so sige.
Mr. Chairman,
Senator Tilanes, just let me finish my questioning with DG Villanueva. So, sir, klaruhin natin, categorical lang na questions and then a short answer also. So, hindi totoo na siguro kinover up mo ang some information to protect some of the personalities mentioned by Senator Trillanes.
Like, ano
It's not true na you protected or siguro kept information that would link Michael Yang.
wala pong Michael Yang sa laboratory, Mr. Chair.
You did not keep information that would keep information about Sami Uy being involved in drugs.
Hindi ko kilala yon, Mr. Chair.
Hindi mo kilala si Sami
Hindi
Uy?
ko kilala si Sami Uy.
In Davao?
Yes, sir.
Oh, he's pretty popular in Davao,
Sa drugs ako
sa
nakatutok,
drugs.
Mr. Chair.
Okay, okay. But as a
Hindi ko
businessman,
kilala,
hindi mo
Mr.
kilala
Chair.
Sami Uy. Okay. Hindi mo kinontrol yung information as far as sino pa yung Charlie Tan is concerned.
Nababalitaan ko si Charlie Tan na siya yung may-ari ng ET.
KTV, yeah.
Yun lang, Mr. Chair.
But nothing that relates to the drugs.
Nothing.
Okay. So, again, Senator Trillanes, go ahead, sir.
Well, unang-una, yung nire-refer natin, Mr. Chairman, about all of these things operating under his nose, yung Green Heights Subdivision. Tapos yung sinasabi ni Las Cañas, wala naman siyang sinabing part siya nung team nila, no? If only nakikinig siya doon sa interview, sinasabi niya, nandito siya sa side nila Duterte, dito siya, close in siya dito, nakita niya yung laro at galaw nila Sammy Uy, Charlie Tan at Michael Yang. Dito siya sa part na to, tapos binigyan siya ng mission doon sa after nung raid to turn na sila ang magre-receive nung 11 galing sa tropa niya. So that was his first encounter with this guy. Kumaga, to clean up yung to cover up yung ano na nga yun, yung mess na yon kasi umabot na aabot kay Michael Yang. So doon siya, wala siya doon sa operating unit kasi part niya siya nung sindikato, double death squad ni Mr. Duterte. And ito yan, Mr. Chairman. This guy, ang tagal niya sa Davao, PIDEA, eventually naging Director General siya ng PIDEA. Tanungin siya kung sino yung mga drug lord nung mga malalaking shipment. I doubt kung sasabihin niya kung sino. Ito lang yung sa mga pulis, yung 990 kilos na shabu. Tanungin siya kung sino ang mastermind nun. Wala ka makukuha ang sagot. It's either incompetence or kasabwat. And I, because of the testimony of Las Cañas, kasabwat, Mr. Chairman. Ganun lang po yan.
Thank you, Senator Trillanes. Now, you also mentioned, Senator Trillanes, in your testimony, you mentioned Councilor Small Abiliera kanina no, na siya yung sabi mong bagman.
Yes.
The thing an issue that I have with this is, parang, walang links naman bigla na lang sinasabi na just because there are photos of them together, then ma-assume ba na, come to a conclusion that he's involved.
Yan po, yung conclusion po na yan, Mr. Chairman, was born out of the investigation po dun sa Senado. That ito pong si Mr. Mark Taguba and other brokers, kailangan magbigay ng enrollment fee kay Pulong at Manscarpio para maging accredited brokers sila nung pagpasok nila ng mga kontrabado, Mr. Chairman. At ang middleman na nagre-represent kay Mr. Pulong Duterte is si Mr. Small Abiliera. So lahat po itong mga information na to, yung pera na binibigay sa kanya lahat, galing po yan dun sa investigation po namin sa Senado, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, before I ask Councilor Abiliera, but isn't it also a fact that the witness that you're referring to, Mark Taguba, also recanted the testimony that he gave? Hindi ba siya nag-recant?
Wala pong recantation.
Walang recantation?
Opo.
So he's sticking to the allegations that he made of the involvement of some of the members of the presidential family in the previous administration?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, as represented by Mr. Small Abiliera.
Okay. Mr. Chair, if I could just ask a few questions to Small Abiliera, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Small Abiliera, sir. Question lang, diretso na po ang tanong at saka I hope you give me a straight answer din, no? Kasi kanina nabanggit ni Senator Trillanes that you were acting as a bagman. Is that true or not?
It is not.
So you categorically deny that you are acting for in behalf of somebody else as a bagman. Tama po?
Mr. President, binanggit lang naman niya ako dahil close kami at that time ni Pulong Duterte. Totoo naman yun. Inamin ko yun. Alam niya sa Senate. Nagkaharap kami sa Senate niyan. Sinabi ko na yun. Sinigot ko na yun siya niyan. Kaya nga hanggang ngayon wala silang mano sa akin eh.
So you were saying that it's at that time, no? Close kayo at that time. Ngayon, hindi na kayo close.
Mr. President, it is a known fact in Davao na kalaban ako ni Congressman Pulong Duterte.
And would you care to explain bakit kalaban ka na ngayon na dati close kayo?
Actually, hindi ko rin alam, Mr. President, kung bakit eh. Pareho lang din yan. Hindi ko alam kung bakit ako ginadamay ni former Senator Trillanes, in which hindi ko naman dininay sa kanya, sa Senate, na nagkita nga kami ni Mark Taguba. Pero ginasabi ko na wala akong involvement din dahil nahindihan siya, alam niya yan eh. Alam niya nung nagkita kami, na sinabi ko na nagkita kami nung Jack, a certain Jack, na hindi ko siya pakilala, nung pinakilala sa akin yan, alam nila na hinindihan ko na sila eh. Kaya hanggang ngayon, wala silang madikit sa akin.
So, pero ito yung allegations na close kayo and you're acting as the front of members of the former administration's family, di ba? And you're categorically denying it. And now you're also saying na ngayon hindi na kayo close kasi all of a sudden you just stop being friends, but you also don't know the reason why. Tama po ba?
Hindi ko alam, Mr. President. Kaya hindi ko, sinasabi ko nga ulitin ko man, even sa nung nag-aaral pa si Congressman Pulong at saka ako, nag-aabot kami sa school, magkaibigan na kami. Nagkataon lang siguro na pareho kaming politiko at siyempre, natural lang. Nung vice mayor ko siya, konsehal niya ako. Kaya, actually, Mr. President, kung pagbigyan niyo lang, lahat ng pictures na gina-present dyan ni ni Senator Trillanes, is mga affairs yun sa city. It's either piyesta sa city, Kadayawan, Araw ng Davao, natural lang yun, kaibigan kami.
So,
Vice Mayor ko siya, konsehal ako.
ang sinasabi mo, you appear in those pictures because of your position as councilor and the position of Congressman Pulong Duterte as vice mayor at that time.
And as a former close friend of
And as a former close friend. Okay, I just tried to give you the chance to explain also because your name was mentioned kanina ni Senator Trillanes.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, so Senator Trillanes, of course, there's a categorical denial on the part of Small that he acted as such, for Congressman Pulong, di ba? And other than insinuations kasi or allegations from Art Las Cañas, do you have anything that would show remotely man lang that he actually acted as such? Si Small Abiliera?
Hindi po galing kay Mr. Las Cañas.
Kanino
Mr.
po
Chairman.
nanggaling, sir?
It was again born out of the Senate investigation during which time si Mr. Mark Taguba mentioned or narrated yung events na yon na nagbigay siya ng pera. Hindi ko naman ho kilala personally si Mr. Small Abiliero. His name was mentioned during the narration of events by Mr. Mark Taguba. So again, it's about weighing or profiling kung sino ba sa kanila ang nagsasabi ng totoo based on motivations. Ito lang, Mr. Chairman, kasi ini-include ko tong si Mr. Abiliera dun sa drug smuggling case nila Pulong. Ito yung facts. Meron pong 6.4 billion pesos sa shipment na pumasok. Okay, pumasok, pero wala hong drug lord. Ang na-convict ay yung broker at yung isang middleman, yung Kenneth Dong, who have both of whom do not have the capacity to import these things. Then you have information from other sources that it's Manscarpio and Pulong Duterte na kumokontrol nung importations at that time sa Bureau of Customs. Tapos ito pang naging testimony ni Mr. Mark Taguba. Kumbaga, hindi ko po ito, Mr. Chairman, ginawa lang sa aking kathang isip. Kung hindi, ito ang resulta po ng investigation, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Senator Trillanes. Now, Mr. Small Abiliera, you testified earlier that you also know Mark Taguba, correct?
No, Mr. President.
You met him, sorry.
I met him when he went to Davao because he wanted to be introduced to former Vice Mayor Pulong Duterte.
Because you only wanted to be introduced.
Yes, to
Because-
a certain Jack, Mr. President. He was with Jack, which I knew before Mark Taguba.
Not because you had any business with customs.
We're friends at that time, Mr. President. It is a known fact also in Davao.
Just answer my question, small Mr. Chair. Ang tinatanong ko lang is, ang pagkakilala mo or when he was introduced, Mark Taguba was introduced to you, it's not because you had any business with the customs. Wala naman.
Wala, Mr.
It's not
President.
because you were importing anything through the customs. Wala naman.
None, Mr.
So
President.
there was no need for you to know Mr. Mark Taguba who was then acting as a broker. Tama po ba?
At that time, Mr. President, hindi ko siya kilala broker. Hindi ko, wala, yung Jack, Mr. President, ang kasama niya, which yun ang nakilala ko before him.
So all the circumstances about you meeting with Mark Taguba had nothing to do with him being a broker with the customs. Wala.
None, Mr. President. I don't know him. I'm not involved dun sa mga pagtransaksyon sa ano. And that's why, kaya siguro ako naimbitahan dito dahil pati yung katabi niya, Mr. President, ginadamay ako.
Okay, so, nawala tuloy ako. Anyway, ang purpose niya is magpapa-introduce sa Vice Mayor.
Yes,
So,
at that time.
hindi nasali sa usapan ang trabaho niya as broker, hindi nasali sa usapan ang capacity niya to import things.
He just want to be introduced to the Vice Mayor then.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Abilera. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so we'll be recognizing the next interpellator. But before we proceed, the chair would like to present something kasi meron pong lumabas sa media about dun sa Quad Media. Siguro ilabas lang muna natin para at least we'll be inviting this person kasi po ay